Well, it's 12 o'clock on a Monday. You know what that means. Nighttime at noon, live from Studio 31 here at City National Arena. Ashali Vise joined by VGK insider Gary Lawless. Gary, the bye week is not slowing us down. It's a cold, rainy Monday in Vegas, but we're going to bring some good vibes. Can I count on you for that?
Are you like on a mountaintop? Like there's you're echoing in a.
I'm hearing myself echoing too. I'm ignoring it in hopes that everyone at home is not hearing the
Sorry,
echo.
okay.
Are you echoing?
Oh yeah, the whole thing is it's a good time.
I guess that means everything we say needs to be really good because we're gonna have to hear it twice. There we
you
go.
go.
All fixed.
See if we mention it, it gets fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well done.
That's what you're here for. Always
Yeah.
count on Gary Lawless to tell us like it is. Give us the truth.
Try anyways.
Well, we have good news to start this
Yeah,
Monday.
fantastic.
It's much needed good news. Chandler Stevenson, a late addition to this weekend's NHL All-Star festivities. He'll be joining Logan Thompson and Bruce Cassidy. This is well deserved, Gary.
I think he's been fantastic this year, and right when they named the All-Star team and the league named Logan Thompson to the team, I thought that was well deserved. But I thought Chandler could have been named as well. And then there was the vote-in campaign takes place, and some fan bases got really mobilized, and Chandler wasn't included in that group. But it's just a really fascinating story. He was couldn't when the Golden Knights acquired him, he couldn't get in to the Washington Capitals lineup, and they were getting ready to waive him. And teams they follow other teams' salary cap, and they look at where they're at, and I think it was probably obvious to the Golden Knights that the Capitals cap issue was about to hit a crisis point, and they were going to have to waive somebody, and it was probably going to be Chandler Stevenson because he was the guy that wasn't playing. So they pick up the phone and they said, "Hey, we'll give you a fifth for Chandler Stevenson." Or I don't know exactly how that part transpired. That's what the deal eventually was a fifth round pick for Chandler Stevenson. We were in New Jersey, and he was in San Jose, and he flew all the way from San Jose to New Jersey, met the team there, scored in his first game, and just like it's been really interesting to watch him develop over that time. He got in the lineup, became a regular, showed he had his speed was the first thing that surprised everybody. Then we started to see that release, and he could score, and then all of a sudden, they put him together with Mark Stone, and there's magic, and there's a real chemistry between the two of them, every bit as strong as the chemistry that the Misfits have. Stone and Stevenson are telepathic. They know where one another are going to be, and they know how to support one another, and they really click, which has been really good for Chandler. But then Mark gets hurt, and Chandler carries the team for a big chunk of last season on his shoulders, and then again this year has been. He had a little blip there where nothing was going for him, but it's back. He's had points in the last few games and started to get back on that point of game pace that he's been at. You can make the argument he's been the most important player for the Golden Knights, forward for the Golden Knights.
The last 2 seasons, really.
Yeah, the last 12 months anyways, Yeah, so really well deserved, and he's already won a Stanley Cup. That's a pretty cool moment in a player's career, and now he gets to go to an All-Star game. He's got a young family, so that'll be a cool experience for them. And the only problem when it happens this late, like I know his dad's got an important job in Saskatchewan, and I know if my daughter ever made an All-Star game, I'd want to be there for it. So hopefully they can figure things out and get on a bird from Saskatoon and get down to South Florida to be able to take it in. His dad runs a big scrap metal outfit that's it's really big, and they buy and they sell and they trade. And you say scrap metal and you think Sanford and Son, but it's actually quite complicated and a really cool thing. I got to know his father pretty well on the father's trip, the one that went the ultimate father's trip. They started in Vancouver, and then went to San Jose and took part in they got to see an NFL playoff game. They got to go to Bill Foley's, to some of his wineries, and then they came back to Vegas and had a wind up in Vegas. Those guys they needed to go home when that was over. They were
the Foley family wines doing what they're made to do.
They were some hurting puppies.
Yep.
When that one was over. That whole trip.
And the Father's trip back when the Golden Knights are back next week. That's going to be a lot of fun. We will talk about that, but want to stay on the All-Star theme a bit. We have to see Chandler in the fastest skater competition, right?
I would love to see that because I think he'd really surprise a lot of people. Millard has got some theory about why he would win, and I think it's based on his crossovers behind the net. So, and Connor McDavid is not skating in the fastest skater this year, so that it does open the field up quite a bit.
If I know Darren Millard, he is spending his off day and bye week watching the show and listening. So Darren, if you have any other theories, feel free to just hit us up, text us in. We'll get that in there for sure. But in terms of what we're going to see during the All-Star weekend, we've talked about how pumped we are for Chandler Stevenson. That's the new news. Super stoked for Logan Thompson, though, as well. Some of the things we're going to see them doing in the All-Star skills competition. There's some wild stuff going on, Gary. First, the splash shot is one of the skills events. Basically, it's on the beach. There's four teams. They're trying to hit 2 targets. And once they hit all the targets, they have the opportunity to dunk the opponent in a dunk tank. Sounds pretty out there, pretty wild, but an A for creativity. It did make me think, though, Gary, about you being in a dunk tank at the Dollar Loan Center at the end of last season. Do you remember that?
Vaguely. I think I went in, didn't I?
Gary offered to go in, and he let someone dunk him one time, and then he peaced out. He said, see ya. Only one.
I got dunked.
Yeah. That would be fun.
That just for the record, I'm a big fella. That was a very shallow tank. I had just had knee surgery on one knee and was getting ready to get the other. As soon as I went down, I was like, this is not, like, you need to get dunked and, like, be in water, not bounce off the floor. That was not a good dunk tank.
You were a trooper.
So I'd had enough.
You were a trooper. Do you remember who dunked you?
Jeff Shaw. Might have been. No, it wasn't Chavi. He missed. Might have been Cole Miltenberger. Oh, yes.
Alec Washuta.
Yeah, Toe.
He is our video producer who travels with us on the road. Hopefully he's taking some time off before he heads
We call him Toe because he was a kicker. He was a place kicker in college football. Little known fact.
I didn't even know that.
There you go.
I thought it was just a nickname. Never know. The next skill, pitch and puck. This one sounds really fun. 6 players play a par 4 on a golf course with an island green. They use a combination of golf balls and pucks. I don't know when they use the golf balls. They use golf balls for stick handling drills. Makes it a little harder because it's got that bounce and it's got a little bit quicker roll. So you practice with a golf ball. So the guys will be familiar with that. They'll have done that before. If they could have incorporated that in last year's All-Star Weekend in Vegas, Mark Stone would have walked away.
Yeah.
For sure. No doubt. Again, the splash shot and pitch and puck, the rules are a little confusing. I'm going to rely on the TV broadcast to keep me track. This one is cool. The Tendy Tandem.
I like this. I like the name anyways.
Yep. So all goalies are in pairs of 2 based on the division. One goalie is going to be a shooter, and one is going to be in net, I believe, on the other side of the ice. And the goalie that shoots is going to be shooting at targets, and you get different points based on where you shoot it. The goalie who is in net will be facing breakaways, and you get points based on what the shooter goalie does and what the goalie does.
Kind of sounds like the net battle of the network stars, like all these made up events.
Yeah, they're pretty out there this year. But what do you think Logan Thompson is going to do? Is he going to shoot or is he going to be in net for the breakaway? This is a tough one because I could see him doing both.
Yeah, he's really good on breakaways, right? One of the best goalies in the world at the shootout, but he has been. Have seen him out on the ice
every morning before practice.
Yeah, recently with a forward stick or a skater stick. flinging the puck around. So maybe he's been tipping his cap to us in that regard.
Yeah, maybe he was
Practicing.
maybe he knew about this before we did. Of course, the breakaway challenge. You mentioned it. It's going to be there. That is Logan Thompson's time to shine.
Yeah, he's been really good at that. But it is like I don't. If I was a goalie, I might go to an All-Star game once and then be like, yeah, forget it. Like you go there and just you're the best players in the world, the most skilled guys. It can't be great for your confidence.
Yeah, I was talking to Sean Burke when LT was first named because only 8 rookies have been named to an All-Star game and played in an All-Star game at least since 1979. And Sean Burke is one of the people on that list. Of course, that's his goaltending coach. And I asked what conversations they had, and Sean Burke said, it was fun, but you can't get out of that net fast enough.
Yeah.
He's talking about the people he was facing. And
totally makes sense.
having said that, though, if there's anyone, it's the guy who, wants to face Paul Cotter every day and shootout challenges just for the heck of it,
Yeah, he's a confident guy and likes competition, so it should be good for him.
Is it good for Logan? He's been playing really well, but the team hasn't gotten the result to no fault of his. Is it good for him, the way this last stretch has gone, to be able to go have this fun experience? Does it give you even more confidence? Does it, I don't know, is it just something to feel good?
I don't know. As well as he's played in his last 2 outings, you might think, like, to keep going. And sooner or later, the Golden Knights were going to snap out of it and give him some run production. They shot, like, their shooting percentage on that trip was like 3.9, and their save percentage was 916 in those. I'm talking about Arizona and the three New York games. So the goaltending was really good over that trip. 2 games went to overtime, a couple empty net goals mixed in there as well. So, yeah, from Logan's perspective, Jack Eichel needed to get away from the rink. I think that a time away and hopefully he can really forget about hockey for a little bit and when he gets back, be relaxed, and because everything he was doing was, you could see he was overthinking things and trying to do too much, and he needs to just kind of fit in, and then his skills will help him excel, and he'll go over the top in that regard. But for Logan, those last 2 games were as good as we've seen him.
Yeah. It's good that he's gotten the recognition that he's gotten. He's become a name that's known in households around the league.
Yeah.
People have brought him up and called their conversations. But how excited are you for not only people to know his name, but to see how good he is against guys, the best guys in the league?
Good for him. We see that every night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the NHL. There's star players on every team, and he's been up to the task for sure. But yeah, this is a concentration of all those really good players, and every year somebody comes out of the All-Star game a little bit better known than they were before, and hopefully it's for all the right reasons.
Hopefully so. We've got more All-Star talk on the flip side of this break. But first, the Foley Food and Wine Society was created to celebrate 3 of Bill and Carol Foley's greatest passions: world-class wines, exceptional cuisine, and magnificent travel destinations. Members of the society will have access to an entire portfolio of properties around the world and have the exclusive opportunity to join like-minded individuals who seek experiences for the finer things in life. Join for free today by visiting FoleyFoodAndWineSociety.com. We'll be right back. on a cold and rainy Monday here in Vegas. But for those who are just tuning in, had some very good news as Chandler Stevenson is headed to Fort Lauderdale at the end of this week, as he has been named to the All-Star Weekend festivities along with goaltender Logan Thompson and head coach Bruce Cassidy. And Gary, we were going through the All-Star skills events. We have the splash shot, pitch and puck, tendy tandem, which Logan Thompson will be part of, breakaway challenge, which Logan Thompson should be part of, fastest skater, fingers crossed, that's where Chandler Stevenson slots in. Hardest shot and accuracy shooting, pretty self-explanatory. They are back as well. But I have a question for you, Gary. I was thinking about this. What could be an all-star skills event that isn't an event, but a Vegas Golden Knight would certainly win? Does that make sense?
Yep, for sure. Knocking the puck out of the air. Mark Stone.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. The puck is in the neutral zone and someone tries to airmail something by him, he knocks it down quite a bit.
Yeah. Maybe give it a swing sometimes,
hip check.
Just like a baseball. Yeah, hip check.
Braden
McNabb. There we go.
That.
I was thinking at drive to the net, Will Carrier.
Yes, for sure.
Just put a bunch of strong.
To drop the shoulder.
Yeah.
Well done, Ashley. Huh. I'm not too sure.
What about any of your coworkers or other broadcasters? Any events that they would be all-stars in?
Huh. Well, Dave Gosher would be an all-star in playing the guitar. Shane Knighty would be an all-star in torturing his fellow colleagues with his acerbic wit. Darren Millard would be an all-star in irritating me. And
True.
You would be an all-star in trying to make us all be nice to one another.
Okay, that's
there
fair.
You go.
Although you say that, and I do encourage you to be nice to each other, but I also get enjoyment and laughter out of the.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, it's got to be something with.
No, I've heard the giggling on the plane when Shane is doing something to abuse me or make fun of me.
Shane Knighty, he plays it serious and cool, but he's low key. He's a funny guy.
He's a very funny guy.
Very funny guy.
And likes to have fun. And I would suggest that I am his biggest victim of our group. He likes to have fun at my expense.
Darren Millard, too. He likes to poke fun at Darren Millard for being too happy.
Yeah. I had to drive the two of them home on Sunday morning, drop them off at 4 a.m., and it was the conversation in the car was humorous. There were some chuckles.
Yeah, the team plane didn't land until 3:30, 3:45.
Yeah.
In the car by 4. That was a very nice thing of you to do.
I didn't have any choice.
To drive them home.
They
at that time.
informed me. When did they tell me? When
An hour left on the flight.
When we were getting on the bus, or just when we were, getting on the plane. Very late in the planning, they were like, "By the way, we need a ride." I think because and I should have known that they needed a ride because I drove Shane to the airport from the game. Him and Dave got a ride from somebody. I think what happened was Millard drove the three. This is a long conversation on the radio show about our the minutia of our travel. Let's move on. I should explain it, right?
You should explain it.
Millard drove the three of them. We all live in the same area, so there's lots of carpooling going on. And on this day, Millard picked up Shane and Dave, and drove the three of them to the game. But Millard's wife Ubered to the game later, the lovely Jen, and then she took their car home. I drove Dave, Shane, and Dan to the plane. Millard got a ride with Garrett Calloway.
It becomes very complicated, which is good for the environment. I will say that.
Yeah.
But when we all drive ourselves, that takes a little bit of the.
I would have preferred they had their own cars on.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't that bad. And actually, we got to Shane's gate, and he couldn't remember the code.
Couldn't remember the code?
No, because he's got a clicker in his car, a transponder, right?
Classic.
So he couldn't remember. So he jumped out of the car. Typical Shane. He's like Superman. He jumped out of the car and dragged his bags. Well, there's a gate, like a man door, and he knew or a person door. He knew the number for that, so he punched that in, and he.
So he didn't have to roll under the gate, which I've heard Darren Millard has had to do before.
Yeah.
No rolling under or climbing under.
I don't know. Anyways, he
Problem solving.
Yeah, so he dragged his stuff home, but it's not short either. From his gate to his house, it wouldn't be half a mile, but close to it.
With all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Impressive. Way to go, Shane.
Yes.
And way to go, Gary, for helping him out there. After the skills will be the actual all-star game. I feel like it's pretty hard to predict because, no one's given that 100% effort. But which division do you have for that? Who's taking it home? Bruce Cassidy, of course, is the head coach of the Pacific Division.
Yeah, and you got Connor McDavid on your team in that format. You have to go with Team Pacific for sure. That would be my pick.
Yeah, good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. I guess let's talk about some housekeeping.
Sure.
Positive vibes with the All-Star stuff. Realistically, not the best trip for the Vegas Golden Knights, only collecting 2 out of 8 points. There were some positive takeaways in terms of the process and in terms of the way some of the games were played and how the Golden Knights looked. But let's just go through the whole trip and what your biggest takeaways were.
Well, I didn't like we'll do the results first. Or the performance. I didn't like the way the team played in Arizona. I liked the way they played in New Jersey and could easily have won that game. Against the Rangers, I think there was a little bit of a slip back. They were still pretty good and would win a lot of games against different competition with the game they put together in that one. And then against the Islanders, they were very good. Should have won that game. Couldn't score. The trip ends with a shooting percentage of like 3.9, and the team shoots 10% over the full season, and that's dropped down to into the 9s now as a result of their recent struggles in that department. But there's got to be a meeting of the minds here at some point in time. There's got to be an acceptance of how Bruce Cassidy wants them to play, and a giving over of oneself as a collective to play that way. And I think that this slump actually is going to go a long way into making that happen, because the players, Bruce said, you can read between the lines, right? When he said, when they're freaking tired of losing, and that's what has to happen. The group has to say, okay, this isn't working. We've got a system and a coach that has been really successful. We can't just do it some of the time. We can't just do parts of it. We got to buy in. And this to me, this trip in many ways is a make or break moment for the team, because this trip will create a make or break moment for this team, because I think that they are going to look at it and be like, okay, we can't do this anymore. We're too good. There's too much talent amongst this group. And I know the Mark Stone injury is big, but this team is still, minus Mark Stone, is still a really, really good hockey team. Do they win a Stanley Cup without Mark Stone? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I think he is such an important element to them that he takes them over the top. We know that they can get to a conference final with Mark. The year the team lost to Montreal in the West Final, whatever they called it, the Western Final, or
round 3 that year.
Round 3, that's what it was. Yeah, because Montreal's not in the West. Like that. Like Mark wasn't Mark. He was, his back was damaged. That was pre-surgery, and he was really struggling. And Pacioretty wasn't himself either. And anyways, but they got that far. And I think if you recall, Mark was pretty good against Minnesota. Scored that big goal against Colorado. Like he had some good moments, and then eventually just he couldn't really perform. And so we know that they're good without him. They need him to be great. So. That will be a big storyline after the break, is where's Mark's health, because Bruce has said a number of times the plan was to let things settle until after the All-Star break, and then Bruce said, and hopefully we see him then. So we'll wait and see. We've got about a week to go before They play next Tuesday in Nashville, right? That's
Right.
the next game, so just over a week.
When you talk about buying into Bruce Cassidy's system and playing the way he wants the team to play, can you elaborate on what you mean there? I think a lot of it is establishing the O-zone pressure, the net front presence, not only relying on the transition game. Is that
I think that the penalty kill is really good. Everybody's kind of bought into that. The power play, it has struggled a bit of late, but we've seen when they have the right personnel, how they can play the power play that Bruce has installed. It's been really good. The defensive zone structure, I think, is, once you've got Theodore back, and once you get White Cloud back, I think you'll see that they've done a really good job at that. And this isn't Bruce or new with Bruce. I've watched this team every game since they started, since they were born, and they like to rush the puck. They like to to have control the puck when they enter the offensive zone, and that is great. To have that ability to score on transition and to score off the rush is really good, and it's really pretty and fun. But if the opposition says we're going to deny the blue line, and they're going to gap up tight, you end up turning the puck over, and then you give them transition because you're going this way, they stop you, and then they all go that way, and you get odd man rushes, and that's disastrous, right? That's what Vegas wants to happen. So sometimes you have to chip the puck in and go get the puck behind their net and create offense from the goal line to the blue ice, and this team can do that. They've, the bottom six has been effective at doing it. The top six guys don't want to do it, and I shouldn't say they don't want to do it. They don't choose to do it as much as we hear Bruce say it all the time. We've got to take the ice that's given to us. So if the ice is behind their defenseman, then you got to flip it behind them sometimes, and it's just like football. You run the ball. The defensive coordinator from the other side says, let's pack the house, and then you throw the ball. It's the same thing. Chip it in, then they're going to start, their defensemen are going to get tired of, having races to the puck with Will Carrier and Keegan Kolesar and getting stapled to the boards, so they'll start to back off so they can cheat a bit towards that puck retrieval, and then you skate. You keep the puck and you skate over the blue line. It's kind of elementary, and it's easy from upstairs. You can see it develop from the press box. The players look like ants, and the ice looks like an ocean.
Everything's fast.
Right?
Everything slows down.
Everything slows down, and you can see it really easily from up there. Now, down low when you're actually on the ice, that ice is, it's a lot harder to figure out or to discern what you should be doing with the puck, but I do think that this team could really make a change in that regard.
I want to talk more when we come back about the top six, how they can produce more offense moving forward on the flip side of this break. Also, what you want to see post All-Star break, what that might look like for the Golden Knights. I also want to talk about the Gala when we come back, so stick with us. Welcome back to Nighttime at Noon. And before we get back to talking about NHL and the Vegas Golden Knights, want to let everyone know that coming back for the first time since 2020, the Vegas Golden Knights are hosting the Golden Knights Gala at Zouk inside Resorts World. Tickets are now available for purchase, so don't miss out on the chance to see Golden Knights players, coaches, and front office staff. Save the date for February 13th. Sounds like a good Valentine's Day date. Just saying, if no one has plans for that yet. And have a night filled with food and entertainment. All proceeds from the gala will go to the Vegas Golden Knights Foundation to support our community. To get more information about the gala, contact the Vegas Golden Knights Foundation at foundation@vegasgoldenknights.com. Gary, do you have your outfit planned for the gala yet?
First of all, what a great idea for Valentine's Day.
That's a great Valentine's Day gift.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the night before Valentine's Day. Take your loved one.
Yeah, and like it could
meet
be
some
the
players, nice dinner.
Could be the gal inviting the guy, or the guy inviting the gal, or whatever your preference is. All that stuff. Yeah, excellent.
Have you been to Zouk before?
No, I'm not a clubber.
Gary's not hitting the club too often. You will.
I never was much of a
You will
clubber.
be on February 13th.
I can remember when I covered. You're laughing about this. I can remember when I was, single, and we used to go to Hartford, and I worked for the Winnipeg Free Press, and my buddy Ken Weeb worked for the Winnipeg Sun, and we had different tastes in nightlife. And we would go and have dinner, and then there were two bars right beside each other, and one was like a dive bar, where I could get on a stool and talk to one of the regulars, the locals, and the place right beside it was boom, 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 and we would like literally separate. I would go into the dive bar, he'd go into the club, and then at the end of the night we'd meet each other out on the street, grab a hot dog, and make our way back to the hotel.
Yeah, Gary's more of a low key, listen to some 80s music, chill.
I like a country bar.
Yeah. Well, Nashville's coming up, and you're going to Nashville this weekend.
Yeah, I'm very excited. My daughter plays on a hockey team with a bunch of other really nice girls, and they travel a lot because there's not a lot of competition close by. And my wife gets to, if she's listening, she's driving her car off the road. She gets to go to all the tournaments. I think it's a lot of early mornings. It's the team hotels are usually they're not the same hotels that we stay at because like I'll phone her and we'll be at the Ritz. That's where the team stays, and they're at Holiday Inn Express, and she's like, "What's wrong with this picture?" Not that there's anything wrong with Holiday Inn Express, but so I get to go and be a hockey dad this weekend. And one of our equipment managers, J.W. Aiken, He's got a daughter on the team. And Nate Ewell who is our boss, our VP of comms and content. He's got a daughter on the team.
How are the junior girls doing this year?
They're first in their league play.
Of course they are. Not a big deal.
But they go on these tournaments, and they're a new program. Sherry Hudspeth and Darren Elliott have done a really nice job giving girls hockey a big push in Las Vegas, and so they do well in their league against San Diego and Phoenix, but they're also slotted in at the right level. They go to some tournaments and play against competition that is more AAA. Like this tournament has a team from Connecticut, a team from Chicago, somewhere else that maybe Denver. Some more established hockey markets where there's been a lot of girls hockey for a long time, and they get their ears pinned back every once in a while by some of those teams. So but
only makes you stronger
for sure. And they played against a team from just outside Hamilton, Ontario in Canada, and they got waxed pretty good. And it was interesting to hear the girls talking about the way the other team passed, the way the other team, broke out after a face-off. All of those little things that they're learning and trying to grasp. There is a lot of individual skill. Like there's some girls that can really skate and shoot, and that's coming together to play that brand of team hockey that that you need to play. That you see in the NHL, young players come up and they all have great one-on-one individual games. How do they make the people around them better? And they're figuring that out. But you know what? It's so much fun. My daughter comes home every night after, and you know, if I get to go to a practice, you know, she's like, if I'm not watching her, you know how I like to look at my phone.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not watching her during a drill, like I'll look down after, and she's staring at me like this, with her
Giving
head.
you the same look that Shane Knighty and Darren Millard give you when you're on your phone.
Exactly. So Mallard is on his phone lots too. I'm really excited to go and stand with the other parents in the stands and cheer on my daughter and her teammates. It'll be fun.
Good luck to Lauren and all the girls going to that tournament this weekend. We'll be rooting for you back here at home. Now that you've given us the breakdown of the youth hockey world and the youth hockey market, how those things are going, we're going to go around the National Hockey League now. We're just going to start in the Pacific Division. Is Seattle for real? Are they going to be able to maintain what they're doing right now?
Well, they're in first place in the Pacific. I don't think they're going to maintain that because I still think Vegas is going to get healthy and go on a run here to close out the season and finish first in the Pacific. But I think Seattle makes the playoffs for sure. They Dave Hackstall, they've bought into what he wants them to do to play. They're a plus 26 is their goal differential, which is second best in the West, or third best in the West. Dallas and Winnipeg have better goal differentials than them, but they're a balanced team. They don't have any stars. Some people have been saying lately that they remind them of the Golden Knights of 17-18. I don't agree with that at all. They don't remind me of that team, but they are similar in the sense that they don't have a superstar, or they don't have one or two really good players, and then some players at the bottom end of the spectrum. They're all kind of in the middle, and they're playing a team game, and that can lead to success.
As I'm looking at the standings and looking at the teams that we want to talk about, I wanted to bring up a topic. Anaheim Ducks. Trevor Zegras made a comment to Troy Stecher. There was all kind of rumors going around. No one knows what it was for sure, so I'm not going to go down that.
Well, we do know that
road. It's not what people thought it was.
Yes, yeah. There was some. Troy Stecher's dad died a couple of years ago, and there was some speculation that Zegras said something about Stecher's father. The Coyotes have come out and made a statement and said,
not true.
Trevor didn't say anything about his father, but he did cross the line. And Stecher is not talking about it. So, what did you want to ask?
I was just going to say it's an interesting conversation. That obviously, if you would have said that would have. There are some things that are a clear line, but it's an interesting conversation. Where is the chirping line?
Yeah.
On the ice, because I know there's a lot of things said that we would never want to know about.
Yeah, the Ducks have won 3 in a row all of a sudden as well,
yeah.
And that's interesting. I don't think racism is going too far. Obviously, homophobia, those things. I don't think you want to. I'm gonna miss something, and someone's gonna blame me for that.
No, I wasn't trying. I wasn't going down that path. I just meant it's an interesting, I don't know. I've never been in the situation of a sport where people are talking smack to you 24/7. You know.
Yeah, well,
it's tough. Keeping the emotions in check, I'd imagine, can be tough.
The line has come back a long way. There was a time where if a player was from Sweden, there were comments you made about Swedes. If a player was French speaking, a francophone, there were comments that players made about that. A lot of that has disappeared, and it's become. You got to be clever. And Trevor Zegras, I think, is a clever guy. He's also a skinny guy. I don't know why he's talking smack as much as he was. If Troy Stecher had got his hands on him, I'm pretty sure we know which way that one would have gone. Wouldn't have been good for Trevor. But I did meet Zegras
in
recently.
the hotel lobby.
Yeah, and he did me a favor. Very nice young man. So hopefully this gets sorted out.
Yeah, hopefully so. Central. Does anyone stand out to you in the Central who's maybe not at the top, but could be eventually a dark horse to keep our eyes on as the post All-Star break rolls on.
Well, the Wild have kind of hung around in that third spot for a long time, and I think they will. I don't think Nashville is going to catch them. St. Louis is the one that is really interesting over there because I think that Doug Armstrong is going to be forced to make a big decision pretty soon and decide whether or not he's going to sell. And if he is going to sell, or if he's, to what degree. Like Ryan O'Reilly came right out and said, I'd like to stay. I hope I don't get traded. But he's a valuable piece, like Doug Armstrong, he could be a rental. Like, maybe it's, I'm going to trade you and then and get something for you. And then we'll come back and talk about it, about you returning in the summertime. We'll sign you to a deal down the road, because he's not signing an 8-year deal. You don't have to worry about getting that extra year. He's not signing a 7-year deal by the same token. So St. Louis is fascinating to me. They've got high end pieces like Tarasenko and O'Reilly, middle of the range guys that are really good. Buchnevich, Barbashev, Achari. They've got 8 pending. 8 expiring contracts, so they've got Doug Armstrong could do some massive surgery and really kickstart a remodel or a rebuild there.
In the East, big tilt between Boston and Carolina yesterday.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that. Carolina's going really good all of a sudden, and Boston, not all of a sudden. Carolina's been good all season. They're the only other team in the NHL single digit in losses. They only have 9 losses, and now Boston has 7. So they're getting in regulation losses. They're getting a lot closer to one another. Carolina's won 5 in a row, and the Bruins haven't. They're winless in 3. I think they got points in a couple of them, but they haven't won them all. They haven't won. I think they're 3 games without a win. That's their first losing streak of the season.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Boston, did you expect them to be as good as they are?
No.
I don't think anyone did.
No, I think they're plus 78 goal differential. That's number 1 in the league by a mile. I think Bruce Cassidy did a lot of good things, and Jim Montgomery came in and left a lot of those things in place and then made a few changes, and they're going really good, really, really good right now.
Well, we'll circle back to Bruce Cassidy's current team when we come back. But first, attention Golden Knights fans. We need your help in welcoming AFC Bournemouth to the Foley Entertainment, also known as the Cherries. AFC Bournemouth plays in the prestigious English Premier League, where they consistently take on some of the best football teams in the world. Show your support for the Cherries by catching their matches via stream on Peacock TV. To learn more and be a part of the club's exciting new era, make sure to visit afcb.co.uk. Up the Cherries. We'll be back. Welcome back to Nighttime at Noon. We're echoing again, Gary, I think. Oh, no, we're not. We're back. Just one of me. All right, we're going to get back to talking Vegas Golden Knights hockey, but do want to tell you about the Craggy Range at the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson because it is the perfect place to enjoy a pregame or postgame meal. Come watch your Knights on one of the Craggy Range big TV screens or the huge outdoor LED screen. Enjoy your favorite craft beer, wine, bourbon, or all kinds of cocktails while you catch the action. You can find a menu for the whole family plus a full bar with 16 beer taps. The Craggy Range Sports Bar and Grill is open daily. No ticket required. Gary, as we enter this last segment, the Golden Knights, 51 games played, so 10 games past the halfway mark, but the backside of the All-Star break is really when teams look to get in a rhythm, get going. It's that final stretch to the end of the season. So I want to ask you, as you look back at the first half, we'll say, what are the biggest positives you take away from the Vegas Golden Knights?
Well, Logan Thompson has to be, the one performance that you look at and say, hey, he's living up to expectations and more. There's a while there for a long time where you would have called him elite, and then he had a little dip, and then seems to have really found his game the last couple of nights. So where he goes from here is a real big story. Will Carey, 12 goals, better than his career best. That is his career best now. Every time he scores again, here he's going to make. Can he get to 20? Could Will Carey get to 20?
I don't see why not at this point.
He'd be on pace for it, right? So that's a real big story. I think with Daniil Miromanov, when he was healthy, I really liked what he was bringing to the Golden Knights. So getting healthy now and where they go from here, very interesting to see what they can do with their full squad. And I think the injuries are way different than last year's in the sense that the injuries last year were like a result of they had piled up from playing so much hockey over a number of years, and then guys got surgery, guys had time off, guys got to rebuild their foundation, and these were all like most of the injuries have been broken bones, guys blocking shots. Those heal, and you get to pick up and move on. So I think that they've had their spate of injuries, and they're gonna get healthy here, and I do expect them to go on a bit of a streak.
Recency bias, it's the offense that's dried up. That's been the biggest cause of concern. Bruce Cassidy said he didn't want to use the word frustration, especially after the last game in New York and how they played. He said more bewilderment that they're not going in. You hope that the break kind of gives them a second to just breathe. If there is, in fact, any frustration there, it goes away. But how much can it help when they return? It's the dad's trip. How can those good vibes kind of kick off a strong back end to the season?
Well, hopefully if they don't have a good game, the dads all tell them what they told them. Like, all these guys were elite growing up, right? Yep. And these are a
lot of them still have those conversations with their dads too. On
the dads and moms, you bet. Yeah, you get in the car and the hockey conversations in our cars on the way back after one of my daughter's games are mom is more critical than dad, and dad's the more positive force, trying to look forward to the next game and looking to learn from mistakes. So anyways, hopefully the dads can set them straight. If they're going well, tell them what to focus on and keep doing those good things. You don't ignore your old man when you get back to the hotel room after a game.
Yeah.
There's a conversation to be had. It'll be a good one.
What is your favorite part of the dad's trip?
Practice in the morning. Dads all show up, usually hungover, some of them, and they're it's behind the scenes, and they're looking around and seeing the NHL world for what it's like. Just having them around, there's all these little moments, you come down dressed and ready to go to the game, and there's Will Carey's father playing the piano in the lobby of the hotel in Dallas.
That really happened?
Yes. Yeah, and he can play really well. James Neal, he's gone. Not gone, he doesn't play here anymore. His dad, Peter Neal, after every win would walk to the front of the bus as we were, you come out of the loading dock in most places and there's a bunch of fans sitting there trying to get autographs from their home team.
Well, signing the autographs.
No, he'd get the bussy to open the door and he'd yell out, "Thanks for the 2 points, Nashville!" And so he was a real character. You see those personalities, and I sat on a bus going from the rink to the plane with Braden McNabb's father, Kim Davis, who's a farmer now in Saskatchewan, but played in the Western Hockey League when he was a young guy, and he watches all our games, and he had all kinds of questions about what we do, the broadcasters, and wanted to know a little bit about his son, and so you kind of, then you bump into them in a lobby a couple years later somewhere else, and they're just there to visit, to watch, and you don't become friends necessarily, but you start friendships.
Yeah, it'll be fun for sure. It all starts next week in Nashville and Minnesota. We'll have you covered with everything that goes down on the Vegas Golden Knights social media channels. And of course, this weekend, don't miss the All-Star festivities with Logan Thompson, Chandler Stephen, and Bruce Cassidy. Starts with the skills competition on Friday. And we'll be right back here next week for another Nighttime at Noon.